Let's not give it let's keep it going another few bars.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses.
Okay, we have 2 for compact disc, 1 for streaming audio. And what do we think the second selection was?
Now I have something I can share at parties. I can
Yeah.
be like, I can tell the difference now.
Well,
It's
between
like
Black
everyone
Sabbath on
knows.
streaming
Yeah.
and Black Sabbath on a CD.
Only this one song.
Revolutionary War.
I think the first selection was.
No contest.
And what do we think the second selection was?
Nice.
What do we think the first selection was?
Yes.
And the second selection?
The audio in streaming sounded a little compressed, which makes sense because it is compressed. But yeah, I mean, if I were just really casually listening, not like trying to pick out differences like we are today, then I probably, for some songs, might not notice. It depends on, I think, what the song is.
I think the quality on both of them was pretty good. So if you're casually listening, like you said, you wouldn't really be able to tell the difference. And I think at some point I was just focused on listening versus trying to pick up on quality.
It's a lot different than the first test that we did, where you could tell more obvious differences. This is one of those situations where if someone was playing this at a party, I would not be able to tell the difference between one or the other. If they were like, oh, hey, by the way, this is a CD, I'd be like, cool. You know, it sounds the same as it does on my phone when I go for a walk, you know.
If we were listening today in an isolated environment, in a quiet room, and looking for differences. And though we didn't perform like at 100%, we all got it right at least once. So I think that speaks to the idea that if you are trying to listen to a piece of music isolated from other factors in your life, if you're going into a music listening experience, then you might be able to tell some differences between different bands. And it also depends on if the music has been remastered.
There's also the whole thing about like bit rate with streaming. Like this is probably at 112 kbps, say.
Apple is 280.
Yeah, all right, that's pretty good. But like there's even, there's 320 and 368 or whatever it is that Spotify Premium offers or something like that. It might be almost absolutely indistinguishable at a higher bit rate. Or if you were to listen to like, a FLAC file through Tidal, I think they have a bunch of, options like that. I think no matter where you would be or what situation you would have, either, crappy headphones or really amazing ones, it would be essentially impossible to tell the difference. In this, it's maybe slightly easier because the bitrate isn't super great, but in general, I don't think it makes much of a difference.
Yeah, I found that the CD tracks were generally a little bit more vivacious, since it's hard to pick out words that really describe the difference, but just the fuller bass, a fuller, high end, if you will, whereas the streaming sounded appropriately condensed, a little flat by comparison.
The CD definitely felt a lot richer, and it definitely felt a little bit more encompassing. So you felt like you were surrounded by the music versus the streaming, like you said, felt compressed and flat and not as clear. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I listen to streaming music about 90% of the time. So in about each room in my house, I have Bluetooth. So we just kind of set it up in room to room. And we do that instead of turning on the TV. We do listen to music. So streaming works for me. I mean, as we said in the other video, I have everything else. It's just easier to use streaming.
My fondness for the way CDs sound keeps me interested in them. My ability to acquire new updated equipment, such as when I get a new car or when you buy a new laptop these days, they don't come with CD drives anymore. So you have to appreciate the fact that if you want to listen to that thing that you grew up with or that medium that is in your mind superior, you have to work for it more than ever before, especially when you have streaming options that are so simple and so, just one touch.